All right, as I said, lots of other stories to get across. I'm joined now by National Editor for The Australian, as I am every Monday, Dennis Shanahan. Dennis, I'll start and touch on it briefly. We'll return to it, and I know people have seen coverage wall to wall for the last 48 hours on the events in Bondi. This line of inquiry that the killer was targeting women, we may never know his true motivations, and none of it brings back the dead. But that's where we're up to tonight. Now, I suspect your first thought, as was mine, was that we had a terror situation on our hands, given that's the times we live in. That's got to be, sadly, I think, what went through the minds of the intelligence agencies and others in Canberra as well.
Yes, well, my first thought was, when I heard the first news, was that I hoped it wasn't a terror attack. But of course, that was always the possibility. And of course, we had seen the Lindt Cafe siege in Martin Place. So it is not uncommon to have a terror attack, and nor is it sadly uncommon to have a stabbing attack. But of course, of this size and shape, it did look to be much more than it was. I think that it is sad. It is clearly something that we can't really do much about, but at least it was not a terror attack.
Now to the politics and all of this, because even in tragedy, there's a political element if we've got politicians involved. Now, to their credit, the PM and the New South Wales Premier were quick to respond. Anthony Albanese held a press conference on Saturday night. He went to the site on Sunday. And Premier Chris Minns, well, he was on leave. He had just touched down in Tokyo. He heard about the incident. He jumped back on the plane. He flew in on Sunday morning. He avoided, I think very smartly, a Scott Morrison sort of Hawaii moment. What happens next, Dennis? I saw that there was some footage taken out of Cabinet today. It's not clear whether the Prime Minister had, over the weekend, a National Security Committee meeting of Cabinet. But talk about batons and pepper spray for security officers in public gatherings, and also that warning from the ASIO chief that we risk an Islamist terror attack over the next 12 months. We've got lessons to learn out of the weekend, surely.
Oh, that's right. And you would have only expected Anthony Albanese to respond as he did. He is a caring, compassionate and sympathetic person who acted quickly as a leader to what was a shocking experience on Australian soil. So he did exactly as he should have and as you would have expected. As for what the federal government can do from here on in, this is a very different situation. It is not a terror attack. It is not something where the federal government can call in ASIO to work on it. This is a question of mental health care, whether people who are being taken care of properly and whether people should be contained as they were in the old days when they were considered to be a risk to the community. So this has a great deal to do about personal health and what state governments can do, but I don't think there's much the federal government can do because it is not a terror attack.
Yeah, but Dennis, I'm not going to disagree, but I'm going to add to that answer, because the first thought went through my head. If someone can do that much damage that quickly, kill 6 innocents with a knife, well, thank God it wasn't a gun. We still do not have a national gun register in this country. We've got a lot of laxity with the importation of weaponry. We also know that in some states, young children can buy some of these really terrible hunting knives and things that should not be in the hand of young people. So even just the way we regulate and manage some of these dangerous weapons, I think we can improve. And that needs federal leadership because it's a patchwork quilt across the states.
Well, that's true, Peter, and we should be doing more on the gun register, you're right. But we have made enormous world-leading steps on the control of guns. And of course, the problem is this. Knife usage has gone up. It's gone up everywhere. We saw a domestic incident between groups of young youths in the western suburb of Sydney just before the Bondi massacre. Now, what we're actually seeing is the use of knives because guns aren't as available. You can't just cancel knives. Often it's just a kitchen knife that is used in a knife fight. So these are very difficult things to do, and I think really it would be expecting a lot for the federal government to try and intervene on this micromanagement of security guards with pepper spray and batons, etc. Something has to be done as far as detection is concerned, but since September 11, we have been doing a great deal more. Our lives have changed a great deal. The CCTV is evidence of that. We can actually see what happened. Actually goes to show how much we have actually done, and we can't do everything, unfortunately.